What's up, everyone? It's J Lava Music here. I'm going to show you guys how to remake Righteous by MoBeats, known as the Pepe Lore song. You've probably heard it if you're on TikTok and stuff like that. It's surprisingly a pretty easy beat to make. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys how to do it down to a little bit of sound production for it, at least how I ended up doing it when I first remade it. And yeah, so it's 4 instruments. I'm using Serum for all 4 of them, and then this 808 sounds like that stock. The same kick that was in Broccoli, I got it from a Broccoli drum kit. No idea where I ended up getting it from, but pretty heavy kick. Hi-hat, same place, and then a clap from a Nick Mira kit, just the stereotypical trap clap. For this song, since it is very bass heavy, I recommend throwing a Fruity Soft clipper on your master as your last, just because, you know, it'll clip very easily because this song is very 808 heavy when it drops. So yeah, I'm gonna start off just with the basic production of the chords. Give me 1 second. So this one, just your basic, very stereotypical, very stereotypical hypersaw, or whatever you want to call it. Very stereotypical. Pulling the detune a little bit, just so it's not as crunchy sounding, I guess, and then pull down that high octave a little bit. Put about 50%. This one stays the same. No filter, nothing else fancy here. Effects, add a chorus and a slight filter. Chorus, pretty much just leave stock, drag, and then just leave the mix, actually, just kidding. Filter, you are going to change to a higher cutoff. Maybe a little bit more than that. There. And that's it. Whole sound production for the chords. And then, oh, first, I forgot to mention this, 164 BPM. That's what the song is. And now you start with your chords. So, this first one goes for quite a while. Yeah, so, yep. There's your first note. And then from there, stack on an F, a G sharp, C, F, G sharp again. And there's your first chord. Super easy, nothing crazy. And from there, very easy. This is not a very complex song. And this right here is your whole chord progression. And just like that, it's done. So, moving on to the Doot. Took the cliche Doot preset, left this the same, well, a little bit different. Change this down to 1 unison. Basically remove all modulators, or everything. Adjust this first envelope here, which, and I mean, this isn't entirely accurate to how the song has it. I wasn't able to produce it very well. I don't know what I did the last time, but I basically created the Doot, didn't like it, and then added this back in, or switched to this, and then it Serum did a funny, and then it was correct how I wanted it to sound. No idea what I did. Haven't been able to reproduce it. But yeah, so we're gonna name this first chords, and now go to a new pattern. And from there, you do the doots, which honestly is really easy. So 8th note, 8th note. Whoops. Very basic. I mean, this whole song is not super complex, and then just like the chords have this written out for 8 bars, just so, because that's how the whole song runs. So together, now you have this sound. Again, not super complex. Moving on to the flute, I left this as just the bottle blower preset. Best way to describe it, I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's super basic. It's just the default sound for it. So, yeah. Actually, wait, just kidding. This moves. But, yeah. Very basic, nothing crazy, just the stock sound pretty much. And then from there, you have your notes, which are E sharp. One second, let me redo this because I got this wrong. Oh, man. There we go. Those are the right notes. And again, 8 bars. As I said, very basic. Throw that on there. I'm going to rename it to flute, whatever you want to call it. So all together, now we're up to this. And now we're on to the ARP. This, in my opinion, was the hardest one to recreate, I guess. Not sound-wise, but getting the correct timings on all the notes. It was very difficult to do. So this one, you want to go to your basic shapes and just get to the square wave. 0 attack, 0 hold. 129 milliseconds of decay, roughly, if you can get around there. And no sustain. And then a little bit of a longer release. So, very boring. And go to your effects, add a chorus. And it's pretty much just up the low pass a little bit. A little bit more. What? 2600-ish. And that's it. And now you have your ARP. So, this is the tough section when it comes to notes. Give me 1 sec to find my... So, there are, in this case, there are 4 notes in one beat, but they are not evenly spread out. So, it makes it kind of difficult. So, we're going to treat it as if it was 4 and then just go from there and adjust it slightly. So, from here, you just drag that back. That's it. So it's 1 full measure of that. And then up an octave. And just cut it in half. So it's shorter. And then the second section instead of it going down again, it goes up. So this is an A sharp, this is a C sharp, this is a G, this is a G sharp. Just that thing, just that. Whoops. So now you got this. And that's it. And again, make the whole thing 8 bars long, because that's what most of the stuff is in this song. So, all together, you're up to this now. Which doesn't sound like much, but now's the fun part. We get to the drums. So, 808 pattern. Pretty much just follows the chord progression the whole way through. So, all you gotta do, C sharp. Doesn't really matter how long you make these, it's just mostly down to preference, because at least with how I have this, make sure you are on cut self, because there are some notes that are close together. I just have this play all the way out. I'm not using any fancy hold or anything like that. So I click the note, it plays it all the way through. And that's the whole pattern. Super easy. Just clicking and notes in. So 808 pattern on its own. But mind you, this is before any mixing. All of the mixer tracks are default except for the master. I added that soft clipper. So all together, you're up to this now. Which again, as I've said, this song is not difficult. Now, up to the kick, which in my opinion really ties this whole song together. It's a huge part of it, just because it's such a heavy kick, plus, you know, the heavier 808. It's funny because you can go 808, we're gonna copy, go to the kick pattern, paste it, and make this all C. So remove those down one using shift down. And that's the whole kick pattern, so not difficult. Oh, I messed up on the 808, didn't I? Haha. Maybe not. Yes, I did. Ooh. This one here is supposed to be there. So, yeah. Not terribly difficult. So, adding the kick in. This is what I mean about adding the fruity soft clipper, because that whole time it would be peaking every single kick it hit. So without the clip, you get that immediate peak, which, you know, you can see it right here on the mixer. But with that, it locks it down at 0 decibels, which helps out a lot. Hi-hat. It's super easy. This for 8 bars. So, again, same thing, 8 bars. And just throw that in. And next clap on every third beat. Or, yes, every third beat. And that is the very most basic arrangement of it you can have. And this, mind you, again, no mixing, nothing done to it. So we're going to go to the 808, which in this case I have mixer 5. On here, you're going to add a fast distortion, is what I did. Max the pre-gain, bring the threshold down to this one. Mix and post, stay. And before we do that, actually, we're going to do a side chain. So I use Fruity Limiter for all my side chaining. Insert 6, bring the threshold way down, ratio down. So now every time the kick hits, the 808 is going to cut out. So it's not going to clash. And usually with this, I like to drag down the release too, because that's a very long time that 808 is not coming through. And also, actually, wait, a little bit less. But yeah, release at that same spot. Everything else is the same. We're going to boost the gain just a tiny bit. Super easy, as I said. Give me 1 second to check my mix to figure out what's where. And then even then, you can also boost this just a little bit, another decibel. And kick, you're going to drag down just a little bit because it is, again, a very heavy kick. So just take about 2 decibels off that. And then hold down on the doot a little bit. Also, I guess a little bit more than you'd expect. And from there, you just build the entire song, which is not very difficult. So I'm going to clear all these out. Song itself is 100 and the last chord starts at 105. I can't do the math in my head. So duplicate using Control B. There's the full length of the song. From there, take your ARP. Have the ARP come in during the second section here. And then after that, everything else hits. I'm going to drag those down, give space for both the flute and the doot. Never rename this one a clap, but that's what that is. This goes for 4 sections here. Flute comes in on the second one. Then you get your doot that comes in. And then ARP. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new blank pattern here. Go into the 808, just pick any note. Turn the velocity all the way down. And then since you have this, should have this, cut itself should be on. You go here. And so the 808 is ending here. It is not continuing after this. You're going to put that there. So when this happens, your notes will play. And as soon as it gets to this note right here, it'll cut. Immediately cut out. Sounds like this. Versus. And you don't you're not supposed to, that note does not ring through in the original song. So you want to cut that out, make sure that's out of there. And then 1 bar of chords and right back in to your drums. Again, 4 through this section. Going to do the same thing again over here. Drag that pattern out so you can have the 808 cut out. Grab your flute. And then doot goes twice in this section, along with adding in the ARP for that last section too. You have 1 bar of silence, and then your drums play you out. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, well, one last thing. Gonna create an automation clip. Whoops, did not mean to have it as the whole song. Want it through that last bar here. All the way down. That's it. So, that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you recreate Righteous by MoBeats. I'll let the song play me out.